it's Jen from Katahdin Crafts here for the Not Too Shabby Shop. I am actually playing with the Arctic Winter subscription box today, which is also coinciding perfectly with the Not Too Shabby Challenge number 8 mood board. I am using this pretty palette along with some winter vibes for my 2 cards that I made today. Now, today is the very last day for the November subscription box, and there is a wonderful new one coming out tomorrow. But I do believe if there's product left over, she releases them individually. So there's a possibility for that. Plus, if you already have the subscription box, this could be some great inspiration for you. Now, I am going to go through and show you what you get in your subscription boxes. Of course, this is the November one, but I still wanted to show you all of the goodies that you get for the bundled price. You get a lot. Each month varies a little bit, but it is always jam-packed full of goodness. This is Big Hugs stamp set. Look at how cute those are. The little Arctic bear and the mouse doing some snow angels. And then this is Winter Wishes. I love all the critters that you get with this stamp set, and that little house is adorable. And may your dreams come true is one of the sentiments. And I actually love those little mountains that are on the side there too, on the top. And then you get a third stamp set in this one, and this is Hello Winter. And how cute is this? This is what I work with today. I absolutely love these little bears. I like all the details in the scarves and the sweaters. It was really fun to color. And then my favorite word, ephemera. Yes, I actually had to stop the video so I could figure out how to say that again. I have no idea why I struggle. It used to just be called die cuts. What happened to just die cuts? But anyway, you get this beautiful ephemera packet. Look at all of them. There are so many pieces that come in that packet. And then one of my very favorite things that come every month in these boxes are her papers. These are heavy duty, great gloss on them, and not to mention the patterns are amazing. I particularly love this month because I love all these soft pastels along with all the snowflakes. I love it. Look at all the little critters, and everything coordinates to your stamps and to your ephemera. Everything coordinates perfectly. Look at that. That one is probably my favorite. I love those pinks and purples and blues. Absolutely love it. You get some flowers. So there's lots of variety, plus everything coordinates. Look at those snowflakes. They are amazing. Love them. And then this is all in the Sparkly Winter pack. And then you get a second pack. And this is Arctic Winter. And see how nice and sturdy and heavyweight this cardstock is? Or it's paper, but it's a cardstock paper. And I love that deep, rich green that is on that one with the trees. And then these purple that looks like a sweater. Love it. Then the stripes. So many. There's 4 different sheets of each one, so you don't have to paper hoard. You can cut one of your sheets and still have plenty left. They have nice little tags on the back of that one. And then plaid. I love plaid. And matter of fact, plaid and my favorite snowflake one goes perfectly together. Love it. These are definitely my shades of color. I love them. And those go great. And then you have some darker blues that are coming in, and those mittens are cute. Some darker blues with this piece on the back and in the front, and then some coordinating cardstock, solid cardstock with those. And then, of course, you always get a little pack of goodies. And this time, this month, I had some little coffee, like a double chocolate coffee. I have not had it yet, but I am planning on it. A lot of times when it's candy, my kids will grab it before I have a chance, but they're not touching the coffee. Nope. And then there's always a little packet of clay bits or some sequins that match. Okay, starting my cards today, I decided to use Lawn Fawn Simple Stripes in landscape, portrait, and diagonals. I selected a few pieces of the paper from the Arctic Winter pack, and I'm going to cut those, and I'm going to make lots of these. This is a way of making multiple borders or backgrounds all at once. So you can see I just die cut those out, and now I'm going to start layering those together in a pattern. And I am using tape runner today. I don't always use tape runner, and you're going to see it's because I struggle with it. I am much better with a liquid glue where I can wiggle, but I was thinking tape runner would help with this, but now I'm not so sure. I actually, in the middle of my project, I go back to some liquid glue. Now, this has a stitched border along that die cut, so make sure that you use the top and the bottom to make sure it's a rectangle again. And so I just set the other ones aside, and I can use those for my next background because, as you can see, I do have a stack of A2 card bases next to me, which is 5.5 by 4.25. And that's what each die cut is as well. It cuts a 5.5 by 4.25 set. And so I'm just playing with it, what I liked. There's so many possibilities because everything really does coordinate together in these sets, in these paper packs. So there is border one, and you can see that there is a little bit of white at the bottom, but I'm just going to trim that up at the end. And now I'm going to do a diagonal one, and then I'm going to do some of those horizontal ones. I made a bunch of these. I never even counted how many, but probably at least 15 different backgrounds I made. And so that will get me a good jump start on my holiday cards. Now the diagonal was a little bit trickier for me just to make sure that I got the right spot, the right pieces in the right spot. So I just had to play around with a couple of those to make sure that they were going to fit. And lastly, I did some horizontal cards as well. And again, everything coordinates perfectly, which I thought that looked pretty. I love all of those greens. They are amazing contrast together. So I thought that this would be fun just to do one background just with all the greens. Really, the possibilities are endless. If you cut one piece of each of those paper in each paper pack, you would have so many quick and easy and beautiful backgrounds. And so for this, I couldn't get away from my favorite way of making a slimline card background with strips of all of these beautiful papers. And I really did think that I wasn't going to do this for this project, but I love the way that this comes out for my background. So here I am again, making strips of the paper and then just putting them diagonally along the whole slimline base, which is 8 3/4 by 3 3/4. And I'm also doing this for an A2 card. This is also a fabulous way to use up any little pieces of strips that you have left of paper. And then I'm just going to cut them down. I am using 2 different trimmers. I like this one the best for this size, which I'm cutting this down to 5 by 3.5. And then I can only do the edges, the short edges in this trimmer, and I'm going to have to pull out my other Fisker trimmer in order to do those longer edges. And I'm just trimming that all down, trimming off the edges, and then everything's going to be even. And so you can see all of my backgrounds now. This is where I had to cut off that extra excess white that you could still see through the bottom of the cards or the backgrounds. And I'm just using my large scissors to trim that off, so nothing too difficult. And if I noticed that it wasn't stuck quite perfectly on the edges there, I just used a little liquid glue and stuck those back down. And this is how my slimline card came out, my strips. So now to change up my background a bit, I thought that I'd use Trinity Stamp's staggered rectangle frames. I love this die, so I'm going to cut that out. And now I'm going to also have those little middle rectangle pieces to be able to do another card with at a later date. Plus they have frames around each one. I thought that was super cool. And now I'm going to glue that down to my base, my 9 by 4 base. And then I used that same die and I cut out some of those solid pieces, the green and then the purple. And so I can fill my rectangles back up with coordinating cardstock. I'm going to do the frame with some precision glue because that is a small piece. I'm going to put that purple one there, and then I'm going to put the green inside, and then I'm going to do the opposite on the edges. I'm going to put the green frame and then the purple on the middle. And right here you can see that I made a repair. I had a piece lift off and then I lost it, so I just had to glue down another piece of purple on that outer frame. No harm, and I just used my pen knife to trim it up a bit. And I'm still going to add all those rectangles back in. And that just gives some contrast so I can make those bears really pop up off the card. It was getting a little bit too lost in the white because there's so much white showing still on my little bears. And for that middle piece, I thought I would do something a little bit different, and I just centered that and left the white edge showing. And that just showcases that a little bit differently. And now I'm just going to decide which bear I like on which rectangle. And I did stamp those out with my Lawn Fawn Jet Black ink, which is Copic marker friendly, and I Copic colored all of those. And I just used coordinating cards or coordinating colors with the papers. And I used Catherine Pooler ink in Dress Blues for the two sentiments. I wasn't sure which one I wanted to use, so I just stamped them both out. And I got inky fingers, of course. And now I'm just going to fussy cut each one of those out, and then I'm just going to play with them to see which one that I want to do, which I ultimately decide that this was my favorite. And it says, "You warm my heart," which all of those bears do look warm and fuzzy. I'm going to finish adhering all of them down, and then we just have to add a couple of little embellishments to finish the card up. And I thought that these sparkly little snowflakes were perfect. So I'm just going to play with placement at first, and then I will glue those down. And I thought that they were the perfect finishing touch to my slimline card. So next I wanted to show you what I did with a couple of my A2 backgrounds because I made so many. I have in my stash some Spellbinders stackable dies, which are called labels, like in various numbers. I just use those and die cut out the middle, and that gives a nice border. And you can see there that there was some lifting of those edges, so I just glued those back down. Now I'm going to adhere this background frame onto an A2 size card base, and then we can work on filling the middles. And I am only going to show this one, but I wanted to show two different examples of what you could do with those stackable dies. And I'm using the cute little mouse from Big Hugs. Again, I just colored him using my Copic markers and coordinated him with the paper packs. And I'm going to put him down, and then I'm going to work on some of those movement stamps to make it look like his arms are actually making that snow angel. I wanted these to be super subtle, so I'm just going to use my Ink on 3 No Line Coloring Detail ink, and I'm going to brave it with my stamp block and hand stamp this down, which if you follow me, you know that this gives me a little bit of anxiety, but that works out nice, and it's just that little bit of subtle movement that you can see. And again, I'm going to do it on that edge. And then there are these cute little footprints that are in the snow, and I wanted to add those as well. So I'm going to use a masking technique with my sticky notepad here, and I'm just going to decide how I want to position those little feet going into the snow, thinking about how he would have gotten there. And I like kind of that little indent that's on that die cut that is out of the center. So I'm going to make sure that that works for me and protect my border. And there was just that little bit of section that I was worried that I'd get. So I'm just going to tear that sticky note and protect that, and that's all. Just a little subtle footprints in the snow. And now I'm going to put my sentiment on the inside of this. And it says, "When life throws you snow, make snow angels." How sweet and cute is that? I love it. I love how happy he is. He likes snow. Not all of us like snow, but this cute little mouse likes snow. I'm going to add a few of those iridescent snowflakes to finish off this card as well. And I thank you so much for crafting with me again today. Make sure you check out these wonderful subscription boxes. This is, again, November's subscription box, Arctic Winter. I do believe that there are a few of these left in the shop today. So if you want to grab those today, and if you subscribe, you'll be all set for the December box, which is coming out. The sneak peeks have already started, so make sure you go to Instagram and Facebook to the Not Too Shabby Shops or Scrapping Stampers, and you can see all the fun stuff coming. And remember that this is part of the challenge board as well. You can go to the Facebook group Scrapping Stampers for all of the information, but if you enter a card or as many cards as you want to enter, you have the potential of winning a $15 shopping spree to the Not Too Shabby Shop, which has these lovely subscription boxes, plus a stamp and die of the month, and a lot of your other favorite brands are represented there as well. So thanks again for watching today. If you have not subscribed, I would really appreciate your subscription, and ring that bell so you know when I do release a new video. Take care, everybody, and happy crafting!